Here we have a case of a woman in her 60s who presented to our hospital with predominantly aphasia and a left middle cerebral artery occlusion. She certainly met criteria for mechanical thrombectomy, and here we are performing that procedure. You can see that we're getting access with a 6 French slender short sheath that has a hydrophilic coating, which certainly helps get access to the radial artery. And we'll be exchanging that out for a large, long 6 French sheath with a 0.96 inner diameter. And that really allows us to have all options available for treatment of her left middle cerebral artery occlusion, including a all-in-one device called SENDit, which is an 0.72 aspiration system with an inner sheath that allows excellent and efficient navigation of the carotid, siphon, and tortuosity that lets us get up to the interface of the occlusion very quickly and allows us to then perform the aspiration thrombectomy. Here we can see the radial axis going through the subclavian and bringing the guide up and forming the sim shape in the aortic arch. Once the shape has been formed and we select the left common carotid artery, we make a roadmap for navigation. And there's a little trick here where I pull back on the Simmons catheter kind of to lock it in place to really support the glide wire getting distal access to the internal carotid artery to support the guide going up. Here we see the glide wire going up, selecting the left internal carotid artery, and that was the slight pullback move on the Simmons catheter to kind of lock it in place. You can see that the bottom shape of it now is much more rounded, and the guide catheter crosses over the arch and into the left internal very nicely over the wire and Simmons catheter. Notice I didn't have to bring the Simmons catheter all the way up to do that. Here's our diagnostic injection, which will demonstrate the left middle cerebral artery occlusion. And we can see there's an anterior temporal branch that's pretty early, but it really is an M1 occlusion causing her significant aphasia. With the roadmap in place, and you kind of have to bear with the patient motion, you can see the SENDit device now coming up over the microwire, and it really does help navigate through the ophthalmic segment of the carotid artery. That inner lumen just takes the wire off of the ophthalmic. It just takes the catheter off. It really does help navigate into the middle cerebral artery. It's great for these M1 occlusions. You can then see how I left the inner lumen down low and brought the 0.72 aspiration system up to the occlusion, and after aspiration you can see we've got complete revascularization of the middle cerebral artery. We did this in about 7 minutes. And just to see what closure is like for a radial artery and how simplistic it is, and certainly way less complicated and challenging than femoral access can occasionally be depending on the anatomy. It's a simple band that goes over the arteriotomy, and the sheath is removed and air is inflated into the device, and that holds compression. Patient did great, was returned to normal on the table.